So this week we played Sabotage at the Escape game, and we're going to review it now. So Sabotage is a little unique, and it's the Escape game's only room like it. It's a competitive room. It is not a story room. There's no story to follow. It is purely just, well, I guess they have a little bit of a setup story, but it is purely one team versus another team, and you can choose to actually compete against another team or to compete against a computer simulation of the other team of another team. And you're just in a room. You're in one room the whole time, competing against this computer simulation or competing against another team. And so your team's running around in this team. So let's talk the good and bad of this room. What was the good?
Here's what I love about the Sabotage room. It was different. And the Escape game is experimenting, in my opinion, with something like this. They're trying to see, does the traditional escape room have maybe limits, and then we need to expand beyond the traditional escape experience? This is a variation of it, which I believe is it wasn't our favorite of the week, but the definite pro, in my opinion, is they're trying to go outside the norms and see, is there room in the escape game world for a competitive one-on-one experience that you could go head-to-head with against another team. And I love that they experiment. I love that they're progressive and futuristic thinking.
See, I think this could be the future of escape rooms, because in my mind, the normal escape room with a big storyline is the campaign of a video game. But then you've got the other side of the video game that is your competitive side of the video game. On Call of Duty, I do the campaign one time, but I play the PvP part of the Call of Duty over and over and over again, because I can play the same room and compete against another team. And so that's why I like Sabotage. I think they're going in the right direction. I think I would have changed some things about the room and how they did the layout of the room, and it was just too tight and too many people in too small a space. That's probably because we were at the maximum number of what they allow in that room, and so that's a large part of it.
You think that you could do this room again with a different team, and that wouldn't be a advantage because you know some of the puzzles and how some of the doors open?
Oh yeah, you'd have to change puzzles. You can't play the same room twice. Because once you know how to solve the puzzles, then it just becomes a race to do what you both know how to do. But yeah, they'd have to switch the puzzles up. But I'm a part of enough puzzle groups and puzzle chains where there's an infinite number of puzzles. I mean, that they can switch out puzzles, especially in that room where it's just doors opening up and there's another puzzle behind this door. They put a different puzzle behind there, and boom, you've got a new room.
I actually walked into this room and saw it, and I'm like, this isn't going to be that cool. We have a chance to do this other room. We still got to do that other room because of how fast we finished this room, and that was awesome. But I was like, oh man, this isn't, I mean, what can happen in this room? And then doors started popping open, and it kind of like blew my mind on some of the puzzles that we haven't seen before. And the attack and the defense, I think we can talk a little bit about that. We got actually some big compliments, and we'll probably talk about that later. But the attack and defense, they explain in the instructions, and so it's like the very first part. But you can choose to attack, and you can decide how big of an attack that is, and how many codes to get that attack as big as possible. And then when you choose to attack the other team, the other team has a chance to defend that attack, and you get like a folder that has its own puzzle in it.
My con for Sabotage is that it had nothing to do with the Beastie Boys.
That is a big con.
I kind of thought, you name a room Sabotage, there's got to be some reference to Beastie Boys. Yeah. Wasn't. Not one.
It was all white and futuristic. You were...
You know, you guys, I think you guys are calling the all-white room a con. To me, that was cool. I liked the all-white room.
I agree.
I like the giant screen on one wall. I mean, the giant screen and the interactive. I mean, like, I liked the doors popping open and and all that. So the white room was not a con to me. The
White
only thing
room
that was
felt clean.
the only advice I'd give, not really a con, is don't do what we did. Don't take 5 people in there. That's too many.
Sometimes there's only like 2 doors open. Again, having too many people in there where you were working on it, there wasn't room for both of us to be working on that particular clue and problem. And then I'd be standing there for a couple minutes until a new door opened up, and then I could go to the door and start moving stuff and figure out other problems. But
All right, let's do ratings. Mark, we'll start with you. What would you give this out of a 5?
I would probably give it a 3. Again, I think it was a solid room, is different, but again, to me, it just was not intriguing. It didn't draw me in. I feel like I was the least active out of most of the escape rooms we've done. And I hate being inactive. I just feel like I was a bystander for so much of it that I would have given it a 3.
What about you, Billy?
I'll go 3 for the same reasons. I like the direction they're going. I like how they're expanding the options for what an escape game experience can be. So it's a solid 3 with potential that's very encouraging in the future of these kind of games.
Caleb?
I'm actually going to go with a 2.5, 2. But let me tell you about a pro. I did like the control panel and kind of seeing the levels, but it was so linear. And what Mark is saying, like, I felt the same way so many times in that room.
I am going to, again, part from the group, and I'm giving it a 4. I love the competitive rooms. I think it's the future of escape rooms. And I think they've got to keep experimenting on it. And I think just because they're willing to make a competitive room, I'm going to give it a 4. And it was a quality room with quality puzzles.
Oh, it's escape game.
That's
Always
fair.
going to be up above average.